Iran thought it had bought itself time. Keep the straight mind, run the clock out, stall the talks, wait for the American public to get tired, and watch Donald Trump blink like every other president before him. That was the plan. And then at 3 o'clock this morning, the regime got its most rude awakening yet. Make sure to stick them to the very end of this video because we're going to break down the latest strikes in the Strait of Hormuz, the jaw-dropping conditions Trump just attached to the Iran deal, and why, when you put all the pieces together, what's actually happening in the Middle East right now is about to shock the entire world. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Also, if you are waking up every morning feeling anxious about what's happening out there, that ends today. My free Patriot Alerts land in your inbox every morning with exactly what you need to know with no spin. Scan the QR code below and wake up tomorrow with clarity instead of dread. All right, let's dive right in here, gang. This morning, May 26th, the United States military launched fresh strikes on southern Iran. These were not symbolic. These were targeted. U.S. Central Command confirmed the strikes hit missile sites and Iranian vessels that were actively attempting to lay anti-shipping mines in the contested Strait of Hormuz. The targeted area was near Bandar Abbas, a southern port city that sits directly on the strait, home to one of Iran's largest naval bases. And on top of that, reports are now coming in of a separate strike on Larak Island, a small strategic island sitting right at the choke point, right at the mouth of the strait. Again, the targets were missile launchers and mine-laying vessels. And what's so interesting here with these strikes is that Trump is in effect saying, you know, we can talk and we can bomb simultaneously, right? That's how you send a message, right? You don't escalate, but you don't back down. You remind Iran every single morning, if necessary, that the United States military is in control. We're right there watching every boat, tracking every mine, and that the Strait of Hormuz will be open, and they will agree to our terms one way or another. We'll give Iran an exit ramp. They'll be able to appear to save face, at least in part. But this morning was a thorough reminder that though Trump is willing to talk, U.S. forces are still very active and very ready to strike Iran anywhere, anytime. It's a brilliant pressure campaign. Now, at the same time, the negotiations with Iran continue to develop. A senior Trump administration official laid out the deal framework in detail over the weekend, and the headline is pretty simple. Iran gets absolutely nothing unless and until it surrenders its nuclear stockpile. The phrase the administration is using, no dust, no dollars. I like that. No dust, no dollars. You don't hand over the highly enriched uranium, you don't get a dime. Not a resource, not a sanction lift, not a single concession. The deal works in two steps. Step one, Iran opens the Strait of Hormuz, the naval blockade lifts, and the world economy gets some breathing room. And at the exact same time, Iran has to commit in writing on record to surrendering its highly enriched uranium stockpile. No commitment, no step one, no relief, and the bombing will resume. Step two, once that commitment is made, the two sides spend a structured 30-day negotiating period hammering out the mechanism for how the uranium is handed over and verified. And the administration is crystal clear. They don't get a single cent during those 30 days either. So the structure's designed so that the United States can verify Iran's compliance without being fleeced, a direct shot at the disastrous Obama-era JCPOA deal that handed Tehran billions in cash up front, which they gladly exploited, of course. The framework, if it works, is structured like a ratchet. Every concession Iran makes locks in and can't be undone, but they don't get anything in return until the next commitment is verified. So that's the brilliance of these negotiations. They assume they're actually counting on Iran's deception and reneging on their commitment. So they're hammering out built-in mechanisms that would prevent that. And there's a reason Iran might actually take it. The people sitting across the negotiating table from American diplomats are radically different from the leadership of 2 months ago. I mean, the hardliners have more or less been eliminated. Many of them literally killed in U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. The pragmatists, the people who understand that Iran's economy is dying every single hour, have been elevated precisely because they were deliberately spared in the strikes. And for the first time in the history of these negotiations, Iranian officials are privately acknowledging that surrendering the nuclear stockpile is something they will have to give on. Something's broken inside the Iranian system, and now we have to understand why, because the answer leads us to the biggest strategic move of Donald Trump's presidency. This is literally going to change the world like never before. While Trump unleashes a political reckoning, there is another crisis poisoning every American in some way, shape, or form, even in the comfort of our own homes. I'm talking about the microplastic epidemic. Now, you may have heard about this, but this is pretty shocking stuff. Check this out.
White ones, we've got clear ones.
Tons of microplastics wash ashore all over the world every day. And now for the first time, scientists in the Netherlands have detected microplastic pollution in human blood.
All the microplastics and nanoplastics we are exposed to, we inhale and we ingest, that actually, there's so much plastic that it can even enter our bloodstream.
The Dutch study on blood samples from healthy adults detected tiny plastic particles in 80% of people.
That's right. There's a microplastic crisis poisoning every American in some way, shape, or form. They're in our food, our water, our meats, our proteins. In fact, according to a recent study, we now ingest 6 times more microplastics than in 1990. It's wreaking havoc on our health and on our organ functions. And unfortunately, no one is immune from this. But there is an amazing solution. There's a unique bacterial strain found only in kimchi that's been found to effectively degrade microplastics. In fact, traditional kimchi is one of the world's most powerful superfoods. But let's be honest, it's messy, it's strong smelling, and not exactly easy to eat every single day. So that's why our good friends over at Brightcore created Kimchi One. Now you can get all the benefits of premium fermented kimchi in convenient capsule form. No mess, no taste, no hassle. I've been taking Kimchi One every single day for months now, and gang, I love it. Each capsule delivers over 900 probiotic strains, live enzymes, and antioxidants that help restore balance in your gut. People are seeing improvements in digestion, bloating, regularity, energy, metabolism. Studies show that kimchi even reduces the risk of obesity. Kimchi One is all natural, non-GMO, and 100% made right here in the USA. It's completely dairy-free, gluten-free, soy-free, so just anyone can take it. I personally love it, and I love knowing that I'm supporting my gut and overall health in one simple step. So if you've been looking for a way to boost your immune system and remove microplastic toxins from your body, this is it. You can get 25% off your order by going to the link below, or for an even better deal, give them a call. My friends at Brightcore would love to chat with you, and they're going to give you 50% off plus free shipping. Call them at 888-597-0233. The first 100 callers to order are going to get a free bottle of vitamin D3. Again, you only get that 50% off and free shipping when you give them a call. So once again, that number is 888-597-0233. On Saturday, President Trump held a phone summit with the leaders of Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Bahrain, and the UAE. 8 leaders, one call. The entire Muslim world's most powerful players on the line simultaneously. And Trump didn't just talk about the Iran ceasefire. He dropped a bombshell that's going to reshape the Middle East literally forever. He told those leaders, once a peace agreement with Iran is in place, it should be mandatory that all of these countries simultaneously sign onto the Abraham Accords. Now, you think about that. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, all normalizing relations with Israel. That's the heart of the Abraham Accords, all joining the framework that Donald Trump built in 2020 as a condition of being part of the Iran deal. And then, as if that weren't shocking enough, Trump actually suggested that Iran itself could join the Abraham Accords. The Abraham Accords from Trump's first term were designed to accomplish two goals: normalize relations between Israel and the Sunni Arab world, and build a regionally united front against Iran and isolate the Islamic Republic diplomatically, economically, militarily. So the Abraham Accords sought to bring together Arab money with Israeli muscle and forge a new Middle East alliance of peace and prosperity, all the while structurally encircling the Iranian regime, cutting off its money, eliminating its proxies, stripping it ultimately of its nuclear capability, and forcing it into a regional order where it can no longer export terrorism and instability. What Trump is building in real time right now is exactly that. He's using the Iran war as leverage to close the Abraham Accords to an entirely new tier of Muslim-majority nations that have never before been willing to sit at the same table with Israel. And he's structuring the deal so that Iran's own recovery, its access to economic relief, to trade, to investment, depends on accepting a regional architecture built around Israeli security and American influence. So this is why the negotiations are taking so long. This is not a ceasefire. This is a civilizational restructuring, and it's happening right now. And at this point, it just appears increasingly inevitable. Iran's Karg Island oil terminal has had essentially zero export activity for months. The U.S. naval blockade is holding. Iran's oil economy is not just hurting, it's literally stopped. China, Iran's last great patron, the buyer of most of its oil, 80 to 90% of it. China has publicly aligned with Trump, calling for the Strait to remain open and expressing interest in replacing Iranian crude with American oil. Remember, the two countries hurt most by the regime's closing the Strait of Hormuz was China and Iran. It was frankly the most idiotic, suicidal, unsustainable move imaginable. Iran's Strait blockade is economically destroying themselves, all the while cutting off oil from their chief financier. That's why any refusal to come to the table is not just an ideological stance anymore, it's economic suicide. And the pragmatists inside the regime know it. You have Israel providing the military and intelligence backbone of the anti-Iran coalition. You've got Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar providing the economic muscle, the diplomatic cover, and, as we now know, covert strike capability inside Iranian territory. You have the United States providing the overwhelming military deterrent, the naval blockade, and the fresh strikes that dropped this very morning. You got China under pressure from a closed strait publicly supporting the American position. You got Russia bogged down in Ukraine, completely unable to provide Iran meaningful support. So, bottom line, Iran is surrounded literally, like in every way, economically, diplomatically, militarily, geopolitically. And the trap wasn't set 2 months ago. The trap was set in September of 2020, when the Abraham Accords were originally signed, and Donald Trump began building a Middle East architecture designed to do exactly this. Trump is not just ending a war. He is finishing the architecture he started. He's closing the circle. And when it works, you will have a Middle East where Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, and Turkey are all normalized with Israel, where Iran's nuclear program is dismantled and its uranium destroyed, where the Strait of Hormuz flows freely under an American-backed Gulf consensus, and where the most ambitious regional peace architecture in the history of the modern Middle East is finally fully operational. And the world will never be the same. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section below. And as always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button for breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. Love you guys. God bless.